Welcome to Crosstalk, the podcast where business stories don't just get told, they come alive. This is your front row seat to the incredible journeys that shape thriving businesses and ministries. Every episode, we sit down with inspiring business owners, ministry leaders, and artists to uncover their beginnings, the story behind their brand, and their vision for the future. It's all about real conversations, genuine insight, and a whole lot of inspiration.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm David Madera, your host, fellow entrepreneur, and biggest fan of a good success story. And this week, I had the privilege of sitting down with Nicholas Brandon, as his name is on Facebook, and he is the owner of the Ninth Hollow tattoo shop in Hamburg. Recently opened up in the past few months, and it's actually his second tattoo shop that he's had in Hamburg. And he came back after being away for a few years. So we talked about the transition, coming back into Hamburg, what his goals and his vision is for the business, and shared some pretty cool stories along the way. And in case you didn't know, a little sneak peek, we chatted over this. So stay tuned and give it a watch.
And hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Crosstalk. We're a little bit in a different setting today.
How's it going, guys?
So today I am sitting down with Nick, who, when this gets posted, it's going to be a little bit after, but today was his ribbon cutting. And a funny story about Nick is, of all the tattoos that I have, he has been present for all of them. When back in your old Jerry B days.
That's right.
I got my first ones, and then he actually did this one for me. And after that, I haven't been anywhere else to get tattoos, and was always trying to follow him and figure out where he was. And of all the things today at his ribbon cutting, I ran back into him and
kind of rekindled
a little bit, which was great. So now I got my tattoo guy back, which is awesome. And
that's
now
right.
We're here and he's inking me up like the good old times. So
that's right. I'm pretty stoked about that.
Tell me about, let's start with the name, the Ninth Hollow. How did we get there?
Well, you know what? I'll be honest. It was kind of just random. It was one of those things where, you know, I'd been sitting on a bunch of different ideas, and I wanted something that sounded so different from what most places do. Okay. And of course, after picking the name and get everything going, I find out there's a place called Hollow's Eve or something like that. And I was like,
always ends up that way. Yeah.
But you know what? They're an incredible tattoo shop. I was checking out their work. So quick shout out to them. You guys are fucking awesome.
Shout out.
But
we love shout outs on this podcast, by the way.
Absolutely. And I'm always big to hype up any other artist. You know, I'm a big fan of, you know, making sure everybody knows that, you know, we need to support each other, not, you know, rip each other apart. But as far as the name goes, I kind of wanted something, you know, I didn't want to do something corny. I wasn't going to do something, you know, Jerry B's was great, but that was my mentor's, you know, based on his name. And for myself, I was like, it's got to be different. It's got to be unique to a certain extent. And, you know, I couldn't exactly tell you how, but after lining up a couple of names, I was like, you know what? My family's name, you know, really played a part on it. You know, my mom's maiden name is Nine. And I was like, you know, I kind of want to...
N-E-I-N?
N-E-U-I-N.
N-E-U-I-N?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, how can I incorporate this, you know? And I was like, I didn't want to do it based solely off my first name, you know, like so many other shops and whatnot.
Right.
So I played with it, and eventually I just came to that, and it kind of stuck. You know, I told my fiance, and she goes, oh, wow, I like that. Yeah. And I was like, thank God you like something. That's for you to see later, honey. But no, you know, that was just such a big thing. Just making sure that it just had to be something different. It had to have a nice little, you know, twing to it, and it plays nicely. You know, it can either be elegant or it can be, you know, dark and edgy. And I was just trying to find my way with it.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was nothing too extravagant, I'd say.
But you see, I think that gives you there's the meaning behind it now. It's not just a name. It has that personal touch to it, which I love.
Yeah.
When I was coming up with my business name, it's Across the Way LLC, a space cross the way. Yeah. So I named it after John 14:6.
That's awesome.
Where Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And,
I love that.
You know,
one of the side perks, I'll share this with you, is by having an A space, every directory that I go in, I'm always like top of the line. So like when you look me up with like Our Town Foundation, I'm a member of the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce. I'm always the first business because it's just A.
Easier
that was a side product, not the immediate goal, but
easier for them to find you.
Yeah, and you know, and one thing I want to touch up on with you too is the faith aspect, because for me, I love the opportunity that creates for me of when people ask like, well, what is your name? Like, how did you get to Across the Way LLC? Because for me, kind of like you, a lot of digital marketing agencies will name themselves after their name. So it'd be like their name media or marketing or something. Yeah. And it gives me that opportunity to be able to share my faith in a, not confrontational manner, It brings that open conversation. So I know you said we were talking before, thinking you got started with Jerry in 2013. So what was it about Tattoos Inc. that got you to fall in love with this industry?
Well, so you're asking like what got me into it? What got me? I'll be honest with you. I had people when I was in school tell me all the time, you should get into tattooing, you should do this, and I was just like, I was so full of myself. I was so incredibly full of myself. I was like, no, tattoos for, and again, I'm 33, but like, I still consider myself kind of part of that older generational mindset where like tattoos were for like military and bikers and thugs and stuff like that. Oh, there's my honey.
There she goes. Now that is the camera, just so you know. So you are not.
So if you want to be in it,
close.
you just gotta sit over here next to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for like letting me know.
If you want to talk at all, let me know, because I'll just clip it off. We can pass it. But observing, wonderful.
But yeah, no. So what it really did was like, for me, what got me into it was just a general interest in art itself. And I came in one day. It was during income tax season.
Okay.
And I looked at Jerry. I said, are you looking to take on an apprentice? He goes, fuck no. And he went right back to tattooing. And he was a man of very little words. He just goes,
that is for sure.
He just goes, fuck no.
I love that.
So I was like, all right, whatever. He goes, and after a moment of silence, he goes, can you show me some of your drawings? And so I pulled my phone out and I showed him some that I had, and I even brought some with because I was already planning to ask him about this.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it, he goes, these are really good. So that's awesome. Him and I, we had a whole conversation. So again, he's tattooing me, and I look at him, I go, so you really like my work? He goes, yeah, no, this is great. I said, awesome. I was like, are you looking to take on an apprentice? He goes, I told you, fuck no. I said, all right. Well, all right. That's that.
Yeah.
Literally, I get home and it's midway through the following week and I get a text message from him. He's like, if you're not here in 25 minutes, you don't want to be a tattoo artist. I can't tell you. I made it from somewhere in Sinking Spring all the way to Hamburg, and I think I did it in like 28 minutes. And I walked in, he goes, late on your first fucking day. I was like, shit. But he had such a great sense of humor about it.
I love that.
He was really awesome about, everything. And I truly believe it, it was just one of those things that was meant to happen. And I'll tell you what, the second I put ink to skin for the first time, that's when it really hit me. I was like, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. And then when I really got into tattooing and I was doing it a lot more, I realized for the first time ever that I was doing something that I didn't wake up in dread doing. And that is so important. Yeah, it really is, because I didn't hate waking up and going to work every day. I woke up and I was like, I need this. Like, it was therapeutic for me. It would get to the point where, like, if I didn't tattoo for an extended period of time, even if it was like a day or two, like, I would get anxiety.
Wow.
Like, and I'm like this to this day. Like, I really do. Like, if I don't tattoo something for a while, like, I'll just go and tattoo myself. Or that's when I get a hold of my lady over there walking around, and I'll be like, get over here, you're getting a tattoo. And she's like, okay.
All right.
Yeah, really. Or Greg. You know, I'll grab Greg over there and I'll just start tattooing him. Like, I got to tattoo somebody. I need it.
Wow.
I really do. I go crazy when I'm not doing what I love.
Which I think is a true sign that
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
that this is your calling, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's just one of those things where it's the more I did it, the more it just took a hold on me.
yeah. Now you have all the eyes on you.
That's right.
No, I'm looking at what you're doing, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I love doing like handprints, feet prints for babies, for their parents. You know, and I believe Noelle over here, once she really gets into tattooing, it's something that she's going to appreciate it too.
I would love to do it.
You know, 'cause this is something that, you know, this is the life that you help bring in,
Yeah.
and you'll never stop loving that.
Yeah, and like for me, I don't get to see my girls every day. And that's like that. I get to walk with it. And it's like now, even when I'm not walking with her side by side physically, it's like,
Right.
and that's what that one for my oldest daughter has been. So,
Yeah, man. I get that. We all need that.
yeah.
Noelle over here, we weren't even in town 2 hours. She's like, I miss my baby. I want to smell his feet. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
I just like giving her a hard
healthy
time.
parenting.
Oh yeah,
But of course, you were giving her a hard time. That's,
that's my job.
yeah, absolutely.
Me and the kids, man, we gang up on her.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So I would love to do this with people someday. So it's a meeting, you know, even not just, I don't know, just the community. I have a lot of people's tattoos. I love to hear the stories, and I just want to make sure you do a good enough job of, you know, better than that. That they can live. But yeah, no, I would love to be able to do that eventually, and you know, because like you said, you get to, you know, walk around with it and, you know, show it off, and it just constantly has like such a, you know, good reminder to it, and has a lot of meaning. So I
And
would
it's
love to
the
be able to do
permanent,
that.
and it's you know, and that's the other beautiful thing about tattooing. There's that permanence behind it. It's that it's cemented in that person's history for the rest of their life, provided they don't get it removed. But you know,
Being a part of it is like such a special thing too. You know what I mean? It's like you feel very privileged to be a part of that. So it's very sweet.
I love riding that adventure. You know, you get people that come in, and you never know what you're going to run into. I mean, I've had such bizarre situations in both good and negative ways.
I can imagine.
I don't think you can.
Yeah. Is there any that you would want to share right now? Like the horrific story?
God, should I? I was gonna say, do I do the flying squirrel story?
Don't worry, kids don't watch this usually. But
Usually, no. This is.
I get
if you're
asked
in a
every time
tattoo
I-
shop. This is definitely not rated.
I was gonna say I do get asked every time I upload these on YouTube if it's kid friendly, and I always just skip that question because
Yeah.
I'll let them do the algorithm stuff, you know.
But, you know, I'll start it off with a more positive one.
Okay.
You know, and I won't give names out. I won't ever be rude like that. But I had a woman come in, and she was very like aggressive kind of with
Okay.
my apprentice at the time. And, you know, he had come up to me and he's like, man, I just don't know what her deal is. You know, it's frustrating me. And it's one of those things, you know, as an apprentice, you got to learn how to manage your emotions when it comes to these scenarios. You know, you got to learn
Right.
how to figure out and walk that line with that person where, you know, and of course my apprentice at the time was a lot like how I was. Like, I just wanted to be everybody's friend, but sometimes you got to learn to draw that line.
Yeah.
And he was just getting ready to draw that line. And then, you know, I started paying attention to like her mannerisms and stuff. And she looked, as angry as she was coming off, she actually looks sad. So finally I was like, look, Logan, I'm going to take this tattoo. And I just name dropped. I was like, look, buddy, I'm going to take this tattoo. And he was like, all right. And he had things he had to do. I think he ended up leaving or something like that. And I sit her down. I got the stencil ready, and she's, saying things, being aggressive, saying things that aren't necessarily, even necessary to say in the first place. And I finally get down to it. I was like, what's going on? And she's like, my kid just passed away.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right. I was like, well, how about you talk to me about what you want to talk about? And a big part of tattooing somebody is, it's therapeutic in a number of ways. It's that relief through pain, but it's also the ability to talk to somebody in a confined, enclosed, environment. And they can really just, there's something weird about how pain just brings out emotional pain. Like physical pain will draw out that emotional pain. And she went on to tell me, like, she had just lost her 17-year-old in a car accident, and it wasn't the kid's fault. She was inexperienced driver, and she went to pull out, and she got scared. So instead of, I guess, and again, I don't know exactly how it went, so I don't want to say the wrong thing, but this is just how it was described to me. I guess she had went to pull out at a light as it was going from yellow, it was going to change colors or what have you, or maybe she was at a stop sign, I don't know. But she went to pull out, and instead of hitting the brake, she hit the gas, and it shot her out, and she got hit by a big truck.
Oh my gosh.
And, the mom, it's one of those things where it's not the truck driver's fault. And, her and I had really sat there and spoke about it for a while. And she broke down, she started crying. And, there were a few times where we'd have to stop while I'm doing the tattoo. And, what it really came down to was, she had all that pent up, and she had been lashing out at everybody. She, admitted this to me. And having that ability to get tattooed really just allowed her to get more out of her system. She ended up, she ended up being a client for a little while. And at some point she came in, and I'm tattooing her. She's telling me how she wanted to therapy, and how getting tattooed really just opened up that door and showed her that she was trying to convince herself that she didn't need it. Yeah. And it opened up that door where she was like, what I do? I have to get this done. And I just thought that was amazing,
like I never would have actually put the thought into seeing the conversations that can come from people that sit here.
Yeah.
I see it now, like that you brought it up. But man, that's a really unique position to be put in.
It's scary too.
Right.
But the best part about being me is the second I walk out of here and I'm not talking to you anymore, that whole conversation goes. Like, I don't think about it. I don't take these conversations with me.
Right.
And because you can't, if you go home, if you have a tragic story told you and you take that home with you, that's not healthy for your family.
Right.
And we've all been down a dark road in our life. So it's just, there's empathy behind it, but it's also standing, a firm ground on where you sit. Like I told that woman, I was like, this is your story. I said, this won't define you in any way. I said, You're still an amazing person. I was like, but I can't sit here and also tell you how to live your life because they ask those questions like, what do I do? And it's like, I don't know. And being very real with this person, I don't know. I don't ever want to experience it. Yeah. I don't want to think about it. Hearing it is enough to send shivers down your spine and stuff. Yeah. But then, I've had other crazy stuff happen too, stuff that I was not expecting where, I've had, getting away from that and jumping into, different scenarios where I've had people completely inebriated storm into the shop and go, I want you to tattoo my dick. I want you, this is my girlfriend, and I want you to just come in here and just tattoo my dick for me. Do you think you can keep it up? I think you need to go home. I think you need to get out of here. You know, you're just, it's a little crazy. I think, as a matter of fact, I think it's actually mellowed out. I haven't seen or had an experience like that in a while.
Knock on wood, somebody.
Knock on wood, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, we don't want that to come. I mean, you are right outside of 1787, you know, so there very well could be some late nights. Well, I mean, depending on when you.
I don't know. I feel like 1787 brings in a pretty decent crew.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's that's the brew crowd.
That's the brew and
the bar hopping crowd.
Yeah, your IPA fellas. You know, I can't relate because I really don't like any type of beer, to be honest. But yeah. So what else you got for me, boss?
Yeah. What made you want to come back to Hamburg to open up the shop? Like,
well,
what was it about?
You know what? A lot of it had to do with the people.
Okay.
I had people asking me to come back, which, you know, I went through my own personal dilemma, you know, with taking over Jerry's, and it was stressful, and, you know, it was selfish. You know, it wasn't anybody's fault. It was my own. I was being extremely selfish. I didn't want to let Jerry go. I wanted to keep his business going. And, you know, a part of me felt like I just wanted to keep that legacy alive.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my right. That wasn't for me to do. And my pride got in the way of it. And I had personal things going on in my life that were having me spiral. And it got to the point where I had met somebody. She's sitting here with me now. And it got to that point where I really it hit me. Like, it was like driving full speed into a brick wall. And I was like, you know, I need help.
Yeah.
I did. And I didn't know how, but I knew I needed it. And I couldn't continue to have Jerry's business going the way that it was, because it was only, you know, it was doing more harm to that man's name. And I couldn't live with that. So it got to the point where I closed up the doors and I moved down south, and I was tattooing down there. And, you know, even then things were still rough. And it just got to the point where I had to take a step back from tattooing altogether.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was a little brief period there where I just stopped tattooing. I ended up working in warehouses. And then when I moved back to Pennsylvania, you know, Greg, Jason, a couple other clients, they were like, "Are you still tattooing?" At first I was like, "No." And then I was like, "All right." And then I went against my own number one rule. I was like, "I don't believe in tattooing out of a house." And I was like, but then, you know, for some people, you make an exception. You're like, "Yeah, you know, Greg, come on, I'll tattoo you." And after tattooing them, it kind of reignited that spark. And, you know, between Greg and Jason and a few of these other people, you know, asking me like, "Why don't you just open up a shop in Hamburg again? You know, everybody would love to have you out there." And then I'd start asking random people like, "How would you feel if I opened up a shop out here?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, I think that'd be amazing. We could really use a tattoo shop out here," which is ironic because of the one up the road.
Right.
But even with that being said, it came to a point where I spoke to my fiance and I was like, "You know, what are your thoughts on this?" She's like, "Nick, I support you, whatever you decide to do. You know, I know it'll be a bit challenging getting it started again, but I have your back." And I owe everything to this woman. You know, she brought me back to my religion. She brought me back to God. You know, we were going through horribly, horribly rough times. And, you know, she's like, "Just pray with me on it." And I'd be so against it. I'd be like, "Just get the fuck away from me with that shit," you know?
Yeah.
Because my thing is, I'm so damn stubborn that I'm one of those, I got to find it on my own. You got to let me do it on my own time.
I get that.
And
I get that.
And she's over here, and like, she wasn't even like that when we got together. But it got to a point where I'd seen like things were starting to go better for her. And I wanted in on that. I needed that relief. And so I started praying, and it seemed at first like every time I prayed, things would get worse. And it was crippling, you know? I mean, her and I were both at our lowest. And then it dawned on me, as I had stated in a previous conversation with you, that it wasn't that it was getting harder. It just seemed like all the worst things were clearing themselves out of the way. And when I started looking at it like that, and when I stopped blaming everybody else for everything going wrong in my life, that's when it just started getting better. And I will always continue to give her all the credit in the world. You know, she stood by me when I was at my lowest.
I would applaud you right now, but I'm a little tied up.
Yeah.
You can't take all the credit. I feel like, you really put it out. You can't take all the credit. I feel like you definitely, did a lot of this. Like I said, I can bring a horse to water. You just can't make it drink it, So it's kind of how I felt. I kind of gave the, little step by step, but he went full force with it and worked his ass off. And everything he has today, honestly, like I said, I mean, he deserves it. He put in all the hard work. He, has been great. So I owe a lot of things to him as well. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, Mr. Man.
Yeah.
But no, that's right. But, and I don't just thank God. And I'm a real big believer that, it's not just God. You got to thank the people that are there for you. Like Greg, doing everything that he's done has been just above and beyond, and of course I'll never let him see that side of me, but I do. I get emotional about it sometimes when I think about it, the opportunity that I have right now. And it's stressful because you're always worried about your family and how you're going to, provide, and these people have reached out and they're like, hey, we want you back here. And that's just, it's monumental. You can't, I'll never look past it. And having the right people to support you and having that faith again, it's just, I feel like I could do anything.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is making sure that I remain humble throughout the process. I'm not a hot shot. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm just doing what I love, and I want to build a business that, my family can be proud of.
Yeah.
And having my fiance by my side, she's doing her apprenticeship, and she's phenomenal. She really picks up on things quickly, so it's just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Throughout the process. But thank you, honey. She's also my hype, woman.
And your anger translator, I found out.
And my anger, listen, she gets hype. She'll say what I won't. And it's crazy because when we first got together, it was way different.
Oh, really?
I was an angry man. And she was very timid, and I was just ready to fight everything. I always felt like I had to prove something, and I didn't. There's nothing to prove, I think getting older helps with that thought process too.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I've had other artists where you're not even good, blah, blah, I'm gonna talk shit. And it's like, hey, look, before I used to really, because I'm real sensitive about my art. And now it's at the point where it's like, just let your art speak for itself. You don't even need words. If you're that great, if you're so awesome, just show up.
Yeah.
Show me how much better you are. And if you can't, I'm not going to put you down for it either, because that doesn't make me look better. It doesn't make me look like a better person to sit there and be like, I'm better than, like, we're not children, we're adults, you know?
And how does that play into the plan for your business? No, I mean, you showed me the full documents. But what does that aspect of more like going like towards the community side, like what does that mean to you? Coming back to Hamburg and now
this is my flagship. I feel being in Hamburg, I'm so deeply rooted in a sense. And, and it goes way past Jerry B's. It goes all the way back to when I was a child. I've been in Hamburg since I was little, and all of my best memories from my childhood are here. My friends playing kick the can, or, manhunt until like 12 in the morning.
Manhunt, that's a throwback. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it was just to have those memories coming here. I feel grounded. I feel deeply rooted here, and it's a comfort thing. It really is. So how it affects my future plans, like this is the flagship. Clearly I can't do everything that I have outlined, This is just too small. But to have a starting point and a place to, really get the ball rolling, that's what's gonna do it, It's gonna pave the way for the other shops to come. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, being able to come back home, grounding yourself, and having this as like your launching point. I think that's amazing. I mean, we both have the one thing in common where we don't live in Hamburg right now. But you have your shop here. I'm here all the time because my roots are here, coaching wrestling here, and a lot of my clients are from here. And I just love this town, and it's up and coming.
It really is. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, I was just telling Greg and telling my fiance like a couple years ago, Hamburg looked a little more run down. It
was like, it looked like it was a dying city.
It did. It really did. There were so many empty businesses in town. I remember saying, to a few buddies of mine, even, I was like, they'd be like, what's your hometown like? I'm like, well, right now it's not much of anything. And I didn't say that out of any maliciousness. It was just me stating a fact. It's just, but I love seeing how much it's grown and how beautiful it looks. It's so clean. The roads are nice. I remember you come down the main street here and you worried you're going to blow out a tire hitting one of the potholes.
The OG days for sure.
Let's go into, now you can share as much as you feel comfortable. But we'll go with your business plan a little bit. What your vision is here, because you shared some things with me that I think are pretty cool, and I think the main premise of the podcast is to shine light on you as the business owner, the new business, and get people to get to know you and see.
My major thing right now is I just want to I'm going to focus on the shop. I want to focus on building the shop up and promoting my work, all the essential, anything that any other, artist would do who's just opening up his own shop. And then eventually, my big thing is I want to get to a point where I can come in and I can tattoo the things that I want to do. I want to focus on being an artist who is doing things who's tattooing because it's a hobby almost. I hate to even word it that way. It's almost, calling anything a hobby has almost become like a derogatory way to view something. But what I'm getting at is like, I don't want to have to do it because I need it to live. I want to do it because I absolutely just love it. Like if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would never charge anybody a tattoo ever again. I would just do it because I love it. Or if I did charge, all that money would just go to charity,
I love that.
That's such and I mean that, a lot of people could sit here and say that, but I really do, and I want to grow the business to a point where it's so self-sufficient and so self-sustained that I can do that, where when I come in, it's, there's other artists here, there's piercers, and then I can just focus on, hey guys, how's it going? I'm glad to see everybody's having a good day. Everybody in here is smiling, aside, from some people that are in a little bit of pain. But, I want to get to a point where I'm just doing it because, it's something I love doing and not just something that is going to pay my bills. No, go ahead. You look like you're gonna
No,
say
yeah, I was
something.
gonna say. I mean, but that's the point of being the business owner, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because I get that too. Because when I started doing this business, I offered everything digital marketing. I don't enjoy doing everything digital marketing.
Yeah.
But now that I've got through the experience and doing everything and, you know, the trials and errors, now I'm at a point, I have a partner that I collaborate with, shout out Leah, who does an area of marketing that I don't really like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking advantage of, Hamburg has an internship program where they allow students to work with businesses that are local.
Yeah.
And they'll get credits for it for the school year and,
that's
and everything.
awesome.
So I'm going to be taking advantage of that in this fall, and I'm going to have 2 more people joining my team now.
That's awesome.
So for me, I'm like, now I'm really starting to think of like as a business owner, because I'm like, now I can really, I want to help them grow and help them exceed and excel. And, you know, if I only have them for the school year, or if they end up wanting to stick around and work with me through college, you know, whatever the case is. But it's, now I am at the point where, how can I focus on doing what I'm the best at, and focus on doing the things that I enjoy doing, which usually go hand in hand. There's a little bit of that offshoot, but so no, I understand that completely, because that's just all part about being in business.
Yeah. And I also want to grow it. You know, I had this plan, you know, and I had this dream where I'd grow the business so much that one day I could just pass it on to my children. And, you know, the more I think on it, the more it's one of those things where, you know, I have bigger aspirations. It's not just going to be a small tattoo shop in town.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to grow this business to the point where, you know, I can franchise it, you know, at some particular point in time.
Yeah.
And then if any one number of my children decide, Dad, I love this, I love what you've done, you know, and the business has to be strong. You know, and I don't just mean strong, through profits. I'm talking like it needs to have such a solid foundation. And it's got to be one of those things where I don't ever want my kids to be embarrassed or ashamed. You know, we all have a past. We all have things that we've done that we're not proud of. And I just don't want it to stain my children, because they're, even if they don't believe it now, you know, but it's one of those things where they are my heart. I think about them the whole time. They're in every breath that I take.
Right.
And, you know, it's one of those things where I just want them to decide on their own. I don't want them to feel like, oh, they have to do this now, or, you know, it's something that's being forced on them. Hell, I'll be honest, I don't even want my kids to get tattooed.
Wow.
I don't. As a tattoo artist, I love my babies, and they're so pure. And you know, if my mom were alive right now, she'd be like, "Oh, you sound just like me." But it's the truth. Like, you know, you're so pure. You have you're beautiful the way you are. Don't change that. You know, there's so many people that want to express themselves, and I just was never happy with myself. So I was like, I'm going to get tattooed at 15 years old, and you know, there's just so much angst that came with it. And I'm just like, you guys are perfect. Just stay exactly how you are. But as far as the business goes, it's one of those where it's, you know, I want to grow it into something that you don't see anywhere else, where you can come in and you have your tattoo artist, your piercer, your permanent makeup artist, and you can also get, you know, tattoo removal done. And then
that's unique.
You know, really just a place where you can come and get everything. You know, it's all in one spot. It's exactly what you want in that moment. And then, you know, with future endeavors, you know, have multiple locations like that. And if my kids, let's say none of them want anything to do with it, sell the business, you know what I mean? Because at some point in time, I just want to relax.
Yeah.
You know, I might want to jump into other, you know, business ventures or what have you.
Yeah.
But right now, I just want to grow into something beautiful. And if I can't find somebody to take it over, then obviously I would sell it off. But the major plan is to build it into something, and starting here with such a strong community, I feel like I can do anything.
Yeah.
You know? That's probably didn't even go into your original question that well, but I was trying, man. The tattooing and answering questions, I lose my way a little bit.
You have the hardest job right now. I get it.
Not with the tattoo itself. This is coming out beautifully. But
well, I'm really glad that you accepted this crazy idea, because I had this idea of normally the podcast or me just sitting down and having the conversation with people, but one of my most I really need to stay away from saying favorite. A podcast that I did enjoy that I did was with the owner of Hazel's Cafe.
Fuck that. Say your favorite.
Yeah.
Call it what it really is, man. Just look, I take
my heart goes out to that business, honestly.
Yeah, that's it. If you're passionate about it, there's nothing wrong in saying I love it. I think too many people are afraid to say that, I love this or I love that because it's frowned upon or because it shows some type of weakness or favoritism. Yeah. But it's not. Like, if you walk out of here and you do another podcast, you're like, that one was my favorite one. Nick, he was fucking all right, but this one was awesome. I'm like, I still love you. You know what I mean?
Right. But with her, she kind of refused to do a sit down because she doesn't like being in front of a camera. But then I proposed it to her. I was like, well, what if I just tag along with you while you're running errands?
Oh, that's awesome.
So we did it in her car. We were driving to pick up stuff at the store, and then we went and picked up. She does a Dutch-made. She brought Dutch-made donuts back to Hamburg.
Okay, yeah, really?
So for Saturdays.
Oh gosh, I remember that was
when they were at Coppers.
Yeah. I loved going in there, and man, every time I'd go in there, they were so sweet to me.
Oh, they were phenomenal. So that shop is in, I guess, Fleetwood area now. I guess technically. So every Saturday, bright and early, before she opens up the shop here, she goes down, picks up the order, drives it back here, sets it up, and then Hamburg gets to celebrate their Saturdays with Dutch made donuts again, which is a great idea. So I got to do that with her, and that was where the podcast really happened. And that was when I was like, man, if I can just incorporate these podcasts by like,
you know what, and that's
stuff
awesome.
like this.
Yeah. Now me, so I did something similar. And one of the things that I enjoyed doing was, this is nice doing it while I'm tattooing. But when I can sit down and really cut loose and keep a train of thought, because of course this is my top priority. Right. But I also like doing the sit downs and, jumping into it like that. So I get what you're going with there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we most certainly in another season we can do another one. We can have a full on sit down if you want.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be awesome. I plan on, once I have my own podcast going, I'll definitely bring you in. I'd love that.
Oh yeah. That'd be great. Do you have an idea what you would want the podcast tailored around?
Honestly, it's going to be tailored. It's going to have quite a few different things,
Okay.
It's going to have a variety going on. It's going to be about people, their tattoo experiences. And of course, there's other stuff like that out there, but this one's going to be my own. And it's going to be based on like their experiences. I want to get other tattoo artists on here.
Oh, nice.
I want to hear like, wild, crazy moments versus how like life has changed for them and how it's mellowed out. I want to hear about the struggle. Yeah. Because I have so much of it of my own that I just want to hear about it. But it's also going to be tailored around like having a good time. Like it's going to be a cracking joke, being a wise ass, having fun instead of it being so serious,
I can't do that serious thing. I can when I have to. I'll say that. I can when I have to. But
yeah. I mean, I get that.
Man, that is turning out really good.
Well, we're about finished with this. I just don't want to overdo it, and at the same time, in these lighter areas, I want to make sure that they're going to hold up. Because a lot of people get like watercolor style tattoos, and then later down the road you see it, and it's like, oh god, this looks horrible. Who did that? You did it. Oh god, why did I let you out of here like that? It's one of those where just the lighter areas fade out, the darker areas stay, and then it just what was once a bird is now just a weird smudge on your skin. So whatever I can do to make it last and look beautiful for as long as possible. Now, of course, I always back my work up. So if anything were to happen to you, get a cut on your arm or scratch, just come to me. I'll fix it up. I'm not going to charge you for that. You are pretty much advertising for me every time you go out now.
That is true. Like I said, I am a complete work of at least you, your apprentices, or who apprenticed you.
Yeah, really. God bless the guy. He'd be calling me a knucklehead. I can hear it now. He's somewhere right now drinking Red Stag with Mountain Dew, smoking a cigarette, and riding around on his bike with his beautiful wife, Mary. At least that's the way I like to think about it. He's tearing up some of those roads in heaven.
Amen on that one.
Oh, yeah.
How did his passing affect you?
Oh, man. You got to think of it like this. I had a real strong connection with him. I saw him every day.
Right.
You know, I saw him more than most people saw him. And I felt like a big part of it, like a lot of guilt, because I felt like I had left the shop for a little bit, and he took me back with open arms, and you know, it was just weird because like I was kind of in my cocky phase of tattooing. I thought I was the shit, but I thought I'd let him down because I had left, and you know, I was gone for only a few months. But even so, like this man really took a chance on me,
right?
And he was the kind of guy where it didn't matter what kind of mistake you made. He never tore you up about it. He never jumped down your throat. He didn't haze you, or he just wasn't built like that. You know, if you messed up, he was there for you.
That's great.
You know, and the only time he ever got upset with anybody is if they were being disrespectful to somebody else. Like he was such a protector in that sense. But he had passed away, and then 2 months later, my uncle passed away.
Oh, wow.
And then a few months after that, my mom passed away. And I was going through personal hardships, and you know, with a previous relationship, and it just all stacked up, and I couldn't. I didn't have healthy mechanisms, healthy coping mechanisms, I should say. And I just, if there was a wrong way to go, I just kept jumping headfirst into it. It really just, I wish somebody would have sat me down and just told me things were going to be okay, to take a deep breath. And I didn't have that support structure. I actually had somebody at that time, and again, name dropping, but like they literally told me, you're terrible, you're horrible. I got in a motorcycle accident, broke my humerus, and like in the hospital, I was still being told all these terrible things. So, you know, there's so much negativity, and I'm not going to point blame at other people because it was me. I made all my own decisions. Yeah. And
but other stuff doesn't help.
No, I mean, you know? But the thing is, just because somebody says something to you, it's kind of the loaded gun theory. You know, I can hand you a loaded gun, but whether or not you choose to use it is on you. On that, whatever, that whole aspect of giving me the gun, or if I'm the one doing said thing, that's on me. That's something I got to live with. But the choices you make afterward, that's all on you. And at the end of the day, I couldn't deal with the person I saw in the mirror. I hated myself. I hated everything around me. And the only thing good that I had were my children. And it got to the point where after his passing, and with the passing of my uncle and other people, I had a hard time even looking at my kids. You know, they were the only bright thing. And of course you come home, and I mean, I was working my ass off. I was literally in the tattoo shop, start to finish. And you have so much negative emotion and thoughts and all these horrible things going on, or at least how it felt. Yeah. Then you come home and you see these beautiful babies, and they come run up to you and they got their hands on, Daddy, I love you, I missed you. Or what's even worse is you'd come home and they were in bed. Yeah. Because you have that guilt, like you're growing up before me and I'm missing everything. I mean, hell, I still have that moment. Yeah. But there was such a negative thing where I started avoiding things. I turned to alcohol, which was my biggest vice and my biggest downfall. It really was. It crippled me in so many different ways. And I guess it got to a point where I didn't care. I became numb with it all. And I hurt a lot of people that were close to me. I made terrible decisions. I didn't think about how things would affect those around me.
Yeah.
And it became overwhelming even for them. And I lost a lot of friends. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of them really weren't my friend to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and that they had to go. Because some of these people were the same people that were feeding me alcohol or, you know, just putting those negative thoughts that you don't need. You know what I mean? And eventually, you know, like I had said previously about Noelle, like when her and I got together, I was still really messed up. And it wasn't just God that she brought me back. It wasn't just my faith. You know, I've had other people in the past, you know, you need to get therapy, you need to do this. And rather than, she didn't do that. She was more like, hey, I'm going to go talk to somebody. And then I just saw, it was like you could almost see it visibly lift the weight off of her shoulders. And I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And when I started talking to my therapist, her name's Shu. I love you, Shu. You're amazing.
Shout out, Shu.
Unique name, by the way.
Yeah.
But I started talking with her, and she did what a good therapist does. She didn't point you in a direction. She didn't say whether this was right or this was wrong. You know, she really listened, and the only input that she would give you is, you know, she would ask, you know, how did that make you feel? You know, typical like, and I hated that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with her, it was like she would say that, and then she would relate in her own way, and I was just like, okay, you know, I can get down with that. And there's a few spots here I want to touch upon quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
I think that's important with the therapy aspect is like when you know that they can relate to you. I feel like that for me, going through therapy myself, starting out this year, knowing that my therapist, whenever he was sharing with me the stuff that he related to and his personal experience, I felt so much more comfortable sharing more with him.
Yeah.
Because like he gets it.
You know, and I've spoke to people, I know people who are their therapist, you know, that's their main job. But I'm like, I'd say I'm more of an acquaintance with these people now, where at one point we were really close friends. And it's like, it always scared me because I would hear how they would talk about their people. Like they wouldn't say anything in specific, but like some of these people would just like talk their shit, and it's like, damn. And you know, they wouldn't say anybody's names, and they never broke whatever, you know, code they have to, you know, work by or what have you. But I always in the back of my head, but this woman, you could tell by talking to her that she wasn't built that way. She was one of those where it was, you know, I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You know, I can't, or she would straight up just tell you, like, I can't relate in a way that is going to make you feel better. And just to hear those words, for somebody to be so real, like Nick, I can't relate like that. I've never been in that, you know, in that situation. And it just made it easier. Started talking about it, started praying, started getting closer with God, started, you know, my woman's over here, like, oh, do you want to read a verse with me? And I'd be like, no. And then when she stopped asking me, I'd read over her shoulder like a creep. She'd just swat at me like, stop, you're breathing in my ear. And I started feeling better. And I think once I got grounded again, my life got better. And that's the best, you know. Still picking up the pieces, but it's a lot better than it was.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
That's a fact.
Now here's a hot take, and I think you'll relate to this too. I know for me, I needed to hit rock bottom for me to even consider getting help, getting my relationship with God back.
Yeah.
All of that. Was that kind of the same thing for you?
Well, I have a different take on rock bottom.
Okay, let me hear it. Let's hear it.
I don't believe there's any real rock bottom.
Okay.
Every time I thought I hit rock bottom,
You hit a
it
new
was
one?
like it's like those cartoons where somebody would fall through the ceiling, they'd go through the floors, and
Yeah.
they think, "Oh, whoo, it's done," and then they start falling through like more.
Yeah.
That's how it felt for me. It felt like it was like there was always a hit, but then it went down further, and it just kept getting lower. And I mean, I was at a really shitty low point. I mean,
Yeah.
where, you know, I didn't get into drugs or anything like that, but, you know, strip clubs and alcohol and wrecking
Anything to numb.
cars and anything self-destructive aside
Yeah.
from hard drugs and stuff like that.
I get that.
Yeah. But
No, I do like that take because it's funny. Whenever people ask, I've probably hit rock bottom like 8 times. So
Yeah.
like for me, when you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's probably the better approach. Is
you know,
yeah, no, yeah, that's good. I like that.
And I feel like
I'm gonna steal that just so you know.
yeah, it's fine.
All
Take
right.
it.
All
Run
right.
with it. You know, and it's another funny thing. Like, I feel like that's God's way of saying, like, listen, and you know, like I would if I was talking to my son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look, things can always get worse.
Right.
It can go from bad to worse, and from worse to terrible, and from terrible to horrible, and from horrible to horrific.
Right.
But how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to continue to look at it through this single tunnel vision? Or are you going to, you know, accept that you are the one going through it? And
Yeah.
like that, I couldn't do that for such a long time. This is all on me.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing for me to swallow at the time was the people that I was dragging down around me. And understanding that sometimes it's gonna hurt those that you're closest with.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta disconnect and push people that you love away so that you don't hurt them. And they're not always gonna understand that, you know, especially if they're really emotionally attached to you, like your children or you know, a spouse or friends that you've been, or even like siblings,
Right.
you know. But it gets to that point where you gotta sit back and you gotta go, I need space. I need to. I gotta get good with me, and I think that was the hardest thing for me to do, especially because, like, you know, we all have our own traumas and abandonment issues and things of those natures where it's like, especially when things are getting worse, you want to grab onto somebody and hold on with all your fucking might, like, you're not gonna leave me right now. Like, you got the crazy look in your eye. You're not gonna fucking go away, are you? And they're like, sure, great, I'll stand by here. And next thing you know, you're just fucking, like, you're going through the shit and you're holding on to them. They're like, I don't want to do this. And you're like, you're coming with me, you know? And you sit back and you're like, why did I do that? Why did I put people through unnecessary shit? And, you know, as a father, you don't ever want to put your issues on your children, but it creeps up on you. You have those moments where you don't even catch it right away. Your children, you know, your son or your daughter, they spill something, you know. And I always think about the little boy from Big Daddy, you know.
Yeah.
He spills the milk and he starts crying right away, you know. And I had a similar situation where, you know, my oldest daughter, and I'll never forget it because it haunted me. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I haven't had other situations, but this is one of them where, like, she literally spilled something. I don't know if it was milk or what have you. And I had just everything piled up, and I just looked at her and I hollered, and it was that deep bassy, and it was a holler that my daughter wasn't familiar with, you know? And I just yelled at her, and she just looked at me, and the bottom lip came out, and she started crying. And I was like, you know, I felt so overwhelmed with emotion. You pick her up and you're like, this isn't your fault. I'm so sorry. And then all the things that you try to shield your children from, somehow it's like, it almost feels like the more you try to hide it away, the more it comes out.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I felt like, you know, my own father, he was not a very present, he wasn't present at all. I haven't seen him since I'm 8 years old. But my dad had a lot of issues. And I always was like, I'll never be like you. And then when I started avoiding my children, I was like, especially after my divorce, I felt like I was the biggest loser. And I was, truth be. I mean, I failed my children. I failed myself.
Yeah.
And I ran. I moved to another state. And I convinced myself that, I could just make a bunch of money here and send it to them and they'll be happier. And then if I'm not there with them, they don't ever have to deal with that. But the pain of seeing their father being the failure that he was, when my mindset should have been, how can I fix myself now so that I'm something they can be proud of in the future? And went down there, tattooed, came back. I'm up here and nothing was getting better. I'm struggling just to go see them. My kids are seeing me for months at a time now, and it's killing me. Like, I mean, I got physically sick. And it was hard because, I remember I was over at my fiance's parents' house, and it didn't hit me how I was talking about the children, because we have a mixed family. We have a blended family.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't seeing my babies, my children, and you got to understand, like, her and I have a son together, but her children are my babies. I'd kill for them. I'd live for them. I would, all of it. And it actually put me on bad terms with her parents because of how I was speaking. Like, these are my kids. I said things that I'm not proud of. But the thing is, I was in such a dark place myself that I wasn't recognizing things, and I was letting my grief and my guilt just overwhelm me, and I became just toxic. And you can't talk like that about somebody's babies. You especially don't fucking do it at that person's parents' house, because I'm gonna tell you right now, her dad and her stepmom, they're fucking badasses. I love them.
Yeah.
They don't gotta like me even now. I don't give a fuck. That's their problem to live with. But they're fucking amazing people, and they're successful, and I have a lot of respect for them. But you don't say these things to these people. And then I was mixing alcohol with it, so I was like, stupid shit just fly out of my mouth. And there were moments afterwards where, and God bless Noelle, my fiance now, because she's such a great person in the sense that, like, she's had her own shit in her own life and she's lived it, where when I was doing these things, we would go back to where we were sleeping and she'd be like, hey, this is what you said. And she'd tell me, and I'd look at her and I'm like, no. She's like, you fucked up, and I think you're kind of like retarded and maybe autistic. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, so don't do it again. And of course, this is how we talk to each other. We're like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, I know. She's like, why'd you say that? I don't know. And then, her parents, their grandbabies. You don't fucking say these things. And so, it put a bad taste in their mouth. And, I hadn't been with Noelle very long before we found out our son was on the way. So they're already looking at me like, this POS, I hate him, And it's like, shit. And then of course, it goes back and forth. Some things on their end get said, and now I'm like, oh, well, now I hate you. It's like one of those.
Been there all too many times myself too. I get it.
Yeah, it's just like, really take that moment, sit back, reflect, and see what you're doing to other people around you. And I'm so grateful, because I've been in their lives for a couple of years now, and since they were in diapers, and they're not in diapers anymore, I couldn't be more proud. Like, my oldest stepdaughter, and I don't call them my stepchildren, when I'm with them. They're just my baby, but this is just for contact. My oldest stepdaughter, she's beautiful, and she's so energetic, and she's incredibly artistic, and she wants to do everything. And
it's awesome.
I told her, I said, you should just be somebody who talks a lot, because that's what you do. And she's like, ha ha ha, Dad. And then, my stepson, he's grown into such a handsome little shit, you know, and I say that, but he is so authentic and so beautifully true to who and how he is. Like he means nobody harm.
That's
and
amazing.
he's one of those where he just wants to know how things work. He wants to, you know, he wants to work on trucks. You know, Dad, I want to work on trucks. I'm like, how about you work on race cars or Formula One and you make a bunch of money? I was like, or even better, how about you become an engineer? And he's one of those who'll look, and it's the same tone. It's not quite monotone, but he'll look at you and he goes, or I'll just do what I want to do. And I'm like, damn, that's deep.
Yeah.
He's like, not really, as he's picking his fucking nose. You know, and that's how he talks. He's like, it's like talking with a little old man. And, you know,
Oh my gosh, that's
fucking
great.
awesome. And
How old is he?
He's he just turned 6.
Oh, man.
And then we have, so again, it goes, the oldest one is going to be turning 8, but so she's 7. Then we have a 6-year-old, and then we have a 5-year-old. She just turned 5.
Okay.
And this little girl, I'm telling you now, she is the smartest child in the world.
Wow.
I swear. But the thing is, God has a weird sense of humor because he gave that little girl, like, she's a Powerpuff Girl. She's the, what was the green one's name?
Oh my goodness.
Bubbles, Buttercup. It was Buttercup.
Yes. Okay.
That's her. You know, she's she's spicy. But the thing is, she's 5 years old and she speaks verbally like you and I.
Okay.
So she's 5, but she can and this has been since I've met her, she can talk this way. She can talk so well for a 5-year-old. And like, she'll catch you off guard every time because she's so spicy. You know, she'll come down the steps and I'll be like, you know, I'm just in my house, so I throw on whatever. I look like I call it the Sandler, you know, Adam Sandler when he dresses.
Yeah.
Because I'll be wearing basketball shorts and a hoodie and a hat and like flip flops, and she'll come down and she'll look and I'm like, and mind you, I have food hanging out of my mouth. I'm like, what are you looking at? She goes, Daddy, you're a mess. You need to get yourself together.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn, girl, like, it's just a piece of ham. Like, you know, she's like, don't come near me. You should probably get a shower. I'm looking at you and I can smell you. I don't smell anything, but I feel like I can smell. You know, this child. Like, you know, it's just like blows your mind. And you can't be mad at her because she's so fucking adorable.
Yeah.
You just want to pick her up by her fucking cheeks and be like, God, I love you. Put her back down. But you know, you can't even do that.
Yeah.
Dude, she fights her brother and her sister. She runs the house. She is
man.
My dog, when Ellie comes downstairs and she's in a bad mood, my dog will look at her, stand up, stretch out, and walk out. Like, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Oh, that's funny.
And then there's our youngest one, and he's a spitfire. I mean, he is just, he's everything I've always wanted. You know what I mean? And at the same time, he's so much, he's just incredibly beautiful and pure. And it's one of those things where I look at him and I'm like, stop growing so much. And I feel guilty because I've had the privilege. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful to God, and I'm grateful to the woman that I'm with, and you know, her family for the way that they supported us in our dark times, and anybody else who's been there, Greg included, all these people, because it allowed me to have more time with him, and it healed. And and this is so selfish, but it's real. It healed a part of myself.
Wow.
You know, being there with my son, like, he was here for all of this. Everything in this shop right now, he was there while it was being done.
Wow.
Like, his pack and play is in that room, you know?
That's great.
And it was getting to the point where he's kind of getting in the way, not in a negative way, but he's like, I got to shop up now. It's running. I got people that want to come and get tattooed. I can't have a baby, you know? And it's funny too, because he'll do something out of spite. He'll knock something on the ground like a bottle of water and just look at you, just like, you know what I mean? Like,
don't forget I'm here.
Like, I did that, and that's his way of saying, "Come over here. I need some." Or he'll hang over, and he has such a personality. He'll hang over his pack and play. He'll be like, "Hey, hey," and just throw his hands up like, "Where are you at? Hello, hey." and you look over him, he goes, "Hi." You know what I mean? Just like, how's it going? And he's a handsome little bastard too. Or when he's upset and he'll cry, and I'll be like, "Can you stop yelling?" And he'll look at me and point with his finger and he goes, "No." He's 19 months old and he points his finger right at you and he's like, "No." And I'm like, I'm not going to fight with a baby. I mean, I'll do it. Like, I'm saying this for the sake of this whole video. Like, I won't fight a baby, but off video, I'll fight that little shit. Like, and we do. My fiance says all the time, she's like, "You're playing too rough with that." I was like, "I'm building a wrestler." Yeah, I mean it. You know, I swear by it too. And I was like, he's going to be the greatest. And who knows, maybe one day he goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to play the trombone." You know what I mean? Deep down inside, I'm like, on the outside, I'm like, "Sure, that's great." On the inside, I'm like, "Fuck, what did I do wrong?"
Maybe I shouldn't have been so rough with it.
Yeah, pretty much. But it don't matter. You just express yourself how you want. But you know, out of everything I've had to say, it's digressing back to the original thing. It's like how Jerry's passing was kind of the domino that took everything with it, and it was meant to happen. You know, and I miss him dearly. I think about him, especially since I've been back in town. I mean, I've gotten choked up a few times. And I guess I'm more determined now than I ever was to just, like, this is mine. This isn't Jerry B's. The Ninth Hollow, it's mine. It's Noel's. It's the future legacy to our children. And it's also something that I want Hamburg to be proud of as well.
Yeah.
You know, I want Hamburg to be like, look at that. We knew about him first before he got to where he is, and we're proud of him. We love him. He's fucking amazing. He's kind of an asshole, you know, but he's still pretty cool.
You gotta take both sides.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, you know, if I could describe and run you down my rambling, that's where I'd go with it.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Crosstalk. I hope that today's episode left you feeling inspired and ready to take on your own journey. If you liked today's episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and drop us a like. It helps us reach more people just like you and helps us grow as well. And I'd love to hear what you think. So go ahead and drop a comment down below of what your favorite takeaway was from this week's episode, and let us know who you'd like to see on the podcast next. And you're not going to miss next week's episode, so stay tuned. I promise it's something special for you. So until then, remember that our community thrives when local business succeeds. Until next time.
All right, man. So go ahead. Take it up. Ask me whatever you want.
Yeah, now
I don't know how this works. I'm trying to make it as organic as possible.
No, you're good. Listen, this people always, whenever I bring this up,
with my hands?
Yeah, I get that all the time. People always ask, like, what's the flow? What questions, this, that, everything else? Or like, how do we do it? I'm like, listen, I'm flying by the seat of my pants with this thing. This is just something for fun for me. Like,
let's just fucking jump into it.
Yeah, like let me set up a camera. We'll put the mics on. We'll just talk. Like that's what I go for, man. You know.
Yeah, no, I get that. So anyway,
yeah.
Continue on. The only reason why I'm saying it like that is because I don't remember where the fuck I was with the conversation.
Neither do I. I got to get back into it myself.